allowed ourselves to stop being curious. I think that's the big thing. It's giving me goosebumps just thinking about that. We've stopped being curious about life.
Hi everyone, Shaelene McInnis here with my podcast. Looking very forward to it. Speaking with someone who I happen to have known for a while, who's a great person, and the work she's doing is wonderful, and it's helping so many people. I will give a little rundown, first of all, of who Sandra is, and then I'm going to I should ask her to speak about herself first. That's how I'm going to do this. So, Sandra, please introduce yourself to the audience.
Thanks, Shaelene. So I'm Sandra Bruce. I am a midlife mindset guide, and I help women in midlife to go deep within themselves and rediscover the person that they were born to be. We all were born to be someone special. We all have our own divine gifts that we were given. And through life that has happened and different stages in our lives, we tend to have forgotten who that was. Mm-hmm. So I help those women who are in midlife in that time where we're starting to get that sense of something's missing in our lives. And I help them dig in and rediscover that little girl that was born that had such big dreams of what she wanted in her life, and help them bring those back to the forefront and really connect to them and make those dreams become a reality and live their purpose in life.
Good. I love that. See, you said that way better than I ever could have. I actually do know a lot about Sandra's work that she's doing, and I do know that she's helping a lot of women. I'm going to ask Sandra, what do you think are the biggest hurdles right now where you're seeing women where they can't get back to themselves? What is it that's stopping us, or what are we doing that's stopping us from that?
I really think that part of it is society's norms that we've grown up with. And, I don't want to belabor the patriarchal thing. I think that's a little bit overused, and it's an excuse that's really kind of become far too mainstream and an easy thing to rely on. But I think so many times women have been put into different situations that we've been the caregivers, we've been the moms, we've been the social planners for the family, we've been the housekeepers, and we've fallen into those roles. And we've most of the times we've needed to fall into those roles because we've had to raise kids, we've had to do this and that, we've had to become career people. But what we've also allowed ourselves to do is push away and push down that woman, that little girl that we were born as, that didn't really care what other people thought. That little girl who was full of wonder and curiosity and wanted to know why. And we've allowed ourselves to stop being curious. I think that's the big thing. It's giving me goosebumps just thinking about that. We've stopped being curious about life. We've stopped allowing ourselves to be important. And whether we've done that consciously or not, I think a lot of women don't realize that they've put themselves aside. And as we get to midlife, it's a funny thing. As we approach 40, 45, 50, it tends to be that really big turning point where women in particular all of a sudden start having this gut feeling, this intuition that comes up in them and starts to say, what am I doing with my life? What is my purpose? And that's when we really start having those questions of, what have I done with my life? What is the legacy I want to leave behind? And that's where I'm helping women to connect to that, to find how they can rediscover that little girl and re-energize that feeling of curiosity, that wonderment of the world, and go back to really simple things like, what do you have a taste for? What is it that you desire? What are the things that light you up? Because so many times we've stopped dreaming. We've not allowed ourselves to dream, not even dream big, just dream in general and say, what if I could do this?
Yeah, I agree with that. And it's funny when you're saying that. I know exactly what you're saying, because it's almost like being, when you're the wife, the mom, the chauffeur, the everything else. You're just everything to everyone, the caregiver to your parents, everything else. I think sometimes we get so busy. You get so busy that you just keep pushing yourself farther and farther and farther down the line, right? Because
absolutely,
you've got kids, who are trying to get to you when you're on the toilet. You've got like it's just
right?
just,
as moms with young kids,
thunderstorms, and your dogs are under the table, and oh my God, it's just.
It's so true, right? We look forward to those little 5 minutes in the bathroom where we can lock the door. Yeah, exactly. And we find ourselves in this age that most of us, or many of us, I should say, are in that sandwich generation right now.
Yes.
Because we're having kids later in life, we may be at 45, 50 with younger children in the house.
Yes.
And yet we have aging parents that, because they're living longer now, aging parents that we have to look after, we're sandwiched in between them. And and again, it typically falls on the woman of the household to manage both sides of that.
Yes.
And now we're finding women who they're torn, and they've lost themselves. They've lost the sense of who they are and their identity. And they're desperately trying to find, who am I? Like, I want to be myself. I want to be valued. I want to be important again.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's so desperate right now.
Can you give me some examples? So you're guiding women as they're going through this process of I wouldn't say redefining, just remembering who they are.
Remembering, exactly.
Coming back to who they are. So how would you help someone with that process? How would you help guide someone in that way?
So I've got a few things that I do. So one of the main things that I do is coaching women one-on-one. So we go through a really intensive program. I have a 3-month program. I have a 6-month program, depending on where they're at initially when we meet. And we really start at the beginning, which is, what is it that you desire? What is it that you have a taste for? Like, we literally start with the 5 senses and say, what do you have a taste for visually? What do you have a taste for auditorily? We look at those things. What kind of tastes, literally tastes, do you have a taste for? And when we start connecting to those things, it begins to open up little caveats and little pockets of, oh, I didn't realize that I like the scent of freshly cut grass. Why do I like that? And it sparks that curiosity. It gets them being curious. Why is this? What is this? And so we go down that little path. We start journaling. We do some meditation, and we start looking at, what is it that is keeping you from dreaming? What is it that's keeping you from going after the dream that you have? And once we can start doing that, we can start to identify some limiting beliefs that they might have. Where do those stem from? And we can work through those, and we can when we can identify something, then we can come up with an action plan to get through it.
Right.
And I also do vision boarding with groups. I do groups, I do one-on-one, and that's part of the coaching program as well, is the vision boarding, because vision boarding is so important to manifesting the visual and the emotional connection to what it is that we want to attract in our lives. Again, that law of attraction, that it works so well. And vision boarding is a great tool to identify that. And
Yeah.
so we go through that, and it's not the arts and craft vision board party night that we've seen in the past. This vision board is really, it's in depth, and it's a journey. It's more, it's a 3-week process, and then we do some goal setting around that. But really, we go on a journey together.
I'd like to talk about vision boards because I am a huge fan since I did my first one years ago. And I just couldn't believe, like, everything, when you put it out there, it actually, everything starts happening. It's amazing. I was actually really surprised. So I know you have a program coming up. Is this an online program?
It is an online program. Starts
next week,
Thursday, September 14th, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. And it runs for 4 weeks. And it's called Born to be Bold, a vision board with purpose and intention. And it's all about mindful living. And it's about connecting an image to an emotion. And what is it that you want to attract in your life? Is it a big house? And what does the emotion attached to having a big house mean to you?
Right.
And we really start digging into those feelings of, this is what I want in my life. This is the big, big, audacious dream that I have. And putting that down on paper visually, because through quantum physics, we can identify that there is a correlation between an image, an emotion, and a goal. It's scientifically proven. And so when we put all those things together, and we go through the process of identifying the feelings, and we can start to manifest those things that we want in our lives. And it can happen really quickly when we really put our focus on, this is what we want to attract in our life. And we can, we look over those, we look at what's stopping us. In the 4th week, we start setting goals. Where are the barriers? And we really set them up for success with that.
Now, I know that this starts September 14th, and when the podcast comes out, it might have already started, but I'm sure people would want to know when it's going to run again.
Absolutely. This will be running again. I will be running it in late November, early December. The dates I'm fixing up the dates right now, but it'll coincide with the end of the year and getting us ready for that new year. Getting us really set up for 2024. Let's make this your year and get started off on the right foot. So I will have that. It'll be on my website under the events page, and registration will be available through there.
Now, I'm going to make sure that we include all of your contact information for everyone who's watching and listening, but could you give us the name of the website now anyway, just so I make sure it's out there? Okay.
Yeah, for sure. It's QueenagerVIP.com. So www.QueenagerVIP, all one word, .com. And within there, well, I always look at menopause as puberty in reverse. And in puberty, we tend to be teenagers. So that's where the ager came from. But let's be honest, when we hit menopause, we have earned that queen crown by now. So I am all about celebrating the queen that is within all of us and being a little bit of a teenager, right? We got to have that playful youthfulness about us, because 50 is just the beginning. Anybody that says, oh, we're past our prime, let me tell you, I will go off on a soapbox rant with them and let them know that women at 50 plus are just getting started. We have so much vitality left, and there is so much that we are going to do.
Thank you. I love that. The last thing I want to talk about is you have a project called Power Word. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah. So anyone that isn't maybe not quite ready to dive into a vision board, a full-on vision board, and the 4 weeks that it takes to do that, I do offer a 2-hour mini vision board called a power word. And that is help. It identifies one specific word that is your superpower.
Mm-hmm.
And that word really it's the key to unlock everything else in
Mm-hmm.
this journey. So it's a great starting point if you haven't done a lot of self-help work, if you haven't
Mm-hmm.
really gone into that journey yet and you're not quite sure, is this for me? Is this really what I want to do? A power word is a great way to just dip your toe into it, see what it's all about. It's a nominal investment, and
Mm-hmm.
it can be something so, so incredible. And that will also be running in late October, early November. I'll be running a power
Excellent.
word, and that one I think is going to be a virtual one, but I also do have in-person ones for anyone that lives in the Durham region of Ontario.
Yep.
I am running in-person ones as well, but the next one will be a virtual one. And like I said, it's a great way to just dip your toe in, see what you think, and get that started and come up with your word for 2024.
Excellent.
My word this past year was breakthrough. And let me
like
tell you,
word.
it really was the center point of everything that I did in 2023. It was so incredible. And I've run it with a number of women now who at the end of this session, every woman that has gone through it has walked away and said, wow, that was so powerful.
Yeah.
And the word that they come up with is not a word that they would have thought of being connected to them until they went through this process and found it. So really powerful stuff that can be the beginning of your journey.
I like that you're doing this just before we're going into the next year. I think it's a great idea to help people get centered and focused. And I love the idea that you're helping women to rediscover themselves.
I went through the journey, and as I was going through the journey, I felt really lost. I felt confused. I felt like I was going crazy. I thought I was losing my mind. Literally, I was having a midlife crisis. I ran the gamut of the emotions. And, as I came out of it, I really thought, okay, I cannot be the only woman who's gone through this or is going through this. And if I can help one other woman by holding her hand and telling her she's not crazy, she's not losing her mind, this does get better, and there's a way to get through it with ease and grace and flow, then that one woman that I can help makes my life that much better. So that is my full purpose in life, is to help one woman at a time go through this midlife metamorphosis that I call it, and discover the queen that's within them and help them birth that queen.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you so much. This was a wonderful, wonderful podcast. I really appreciate it. And I know that a lot of people will be very happy to be speaking to you on this subject. Love the idea of the vision boards and the power word too. That's fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, Shaelene.
Oh, happy to do it, Sandra. For anyone wanting to contact Sandra, again, you can go to her website. We're going to have the contact information on this podcast as well. You'll see that. And you can always call us at Books in Line, and we can give you the contact information for Sandra. Again, Sandra, thank you so much. I really appreciate you talking to people about this much needed discussion.
It is my passion.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Shaelene.